Hello?
Hello? Yo,
Hey. Hey.
how's it going?
Good, good. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Nice. I'm actually doing really well. I'm having a good day so far.
That's
I'm
good. That's
hoping
good.
it continues. All right. So, what is the deal for this week? What are we up to?
Um, so I can give you like a brief little update, which is that I've been trying to I'll give a brief update about what I've been doing generally, and then we can talk about like specifically what I talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, I've been trying to like step it up a little bit in terms of how much in terms of my practice by like pushing myself to play every day at least for an hour with like a good player, like someone who's like capable of kind of beating my cheeks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Like direct connect.
yeah, like just direct connect with someone who's like just clearly like got the edge on me.
Okay.
And I try to play with them an hour every day. So, and I've been playing with like a different player and a different character each day. So like I did like Koopa one day, and then I did Null, and then I did Squid, and then I did Zeo, and then I've got CPU Zero in the wings possibly at some point, and then Meds is down tomorrow, and then uh, like a few others. But anyway,
Dude,
like
you've
the
been on the
idea is like,
grind.
yeah, I'm trying really, really,
That's
really
that
hard. I
Cody
want to get
life.
better.
Not quite, but
But
you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah. I mean, as much as I can with like a full time job and stuff. So but
Yeah, no
yeah,
respect for putting in that much effort with a full job.
yeah. But it's not always been translating into like immediate obvious success. But it's like I'm definitely feeling like I'm like kind of starting to feel that I'm like slowly getting better a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess today I wanted to talk a little bit about my sessions with Noel because they've been going like okay, and I feel like the games individually are like decently not terrible. Some of them are like I just get washed, but some of them like are like a lot of them are like kind of close-ish, I guess. But um, I think the specific areas that I'm like struggling with that I would think would help to talk about are like what I need to do when I'm on the platform, uh, and what I can do to be more like threatening, and what I can do to make Fox not feel as comfortable kind of taking space against me and pushing me on the into the corner or onto a side platform. Because I feel like the theme of like a lot of the games is like I end up kind of somewhere on the back foot on the side platform or in a corner, and then I have to find a way out and reversal him.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and sometimes it works, but often it doesn't. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that's a good strategy. And like in talking with Noel about it, it seems like he kind of thinks that they're like he said that like one of the things you can do is Falco when Fox is like dash dancing and then in center, and then Falco is like in the corner. Is you will do like no fastball, full drift forward down air. Mango will do like approaching laser. Bobby Big Balls will just like top dare or like full hop dare to top platform. But like all these things are just meant to be like ways for Falco to kind of escape a bad spot when Fox is just dash dancing in center. Um, I think I can kind of imagine where he's talking about those spots as they come up in the friendlies. But like I feel like it might help to be a little bit more specific, and so like I wanted to have a lesson where we could just like look at actual situations and figure out where I'm like kind of giving Fox too much control and too much space.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I pulled up the first Slippy. I will screen share you.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Small detail, but I always you got to take this at the beginning. Just drop through laser, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
because this just gives them the control in like the first quarter second. Um. So would you like? Are you talking about like this type of spot that like this is like the generally like look of like the spots you're not comfortable in,
Kind of,
or
yeah, more or
like it's
less.
an example of like a possible spot?
Yeah, it's definitely an example of a possible spot.
Mm-hmm. I was
Like
just
this
making
didn't
sure I
go
was like
wrong, but
I was hearing like what, or not hearing, but like understanding like the type of spot where you're like ignoring like how you got into it, right? It's just kind of
right.
this feeling that like you're here and he's here and he feels comfy and he shouldn't.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, I'll look for another example and talk about it. Okay, and that was good. Mm-hmm. Okay, gonna kind of ignore that.
Yeah.
I see what you're talking about though. Like I see it happening. There just hasn't been too much to mention. Like
That also happens a lot where I try to do laser and then like dare in place to stuff him dashing forward, but he just full hop drills me instead. And I'm like not totally sure if it's just I'm misspacing where I'm going for the down airs.
this spot, yeah. I see. Okay, so what I'm seeing so far, and I'm trying to think of like the best way to describe it. It feels like you're shooting a laser and then you're covering Fox's biggest approach as like, okay, I'll hit you with a laser and then I'll very defensively cover your next approach or like a full approach or whatever. But what that's doing is like because you're doing it so consistently, it creates like a situation where you laser and then give up any space that's not a full approach. And then you laser and you give up any space that's not a full approach. That's like what I'm seeing so far. And I think
Yeah.
like uh, the double laser is really good to beat that. I think once you do the retreating laser, doing an approaching laser after that is really good. Like if you do this, like you're doing this little dash dance here, but you could be doing like retreating laser, approaching laser, or like retreating laser, laser again in place. You know, like to sort of I'm not seeing the laser sequences being extended, if that makes sense. Like I'm seeing like one laser into like Hope Fox approaches me into like one laser into Hope Fox approaches type of deal. Like
Yeah.
I want
You
to
know, it's
see what's up.
I was gonna say like what you just said about using like retreating laser and then laser in place. That's almost exactly what I also thought after I watched these games was like, oh, I should do that more because like there were so many spots where if I just shot another laser in place, he would have been like really screwed doing whatever he
Mm-hmm.
did after. And the only thing I can think of because I remember telling myself I should do it before the games, but then the games happened and I just kept doing laser and then like dash dance without like shooting more lasers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I maybe I just get really scared of like his approach, and I just like don't trust that the laser is gonna be fine. But yeah, no, that
Yeah,
makes total
that's
sense. Yeah,
that's like usually what it is that like wow, this fox moves really quick out of lasers, or sometimes they CC them in the redo or whatever, and so that like can force you out of like the correct mix-ups. Like I'm seeing kind of like a thing where like it feels like here's the stage or whatever, and it feels like he's here and you do like you're like here, right, and then you retreating laser to like here, so now you're in this spot, but like you just retreating lasered from here, and like let's say the double laser spacing, let's say you retreating laser to like here because this is more what it is, then like you know that the double laser spacing is, let's say, like here, right? So after you do this retreating laser, you know that you can just immediately fire a laser like this or just in place again. And but it feels like you're like going from here, you're giving up this space to go, like you're giving up this space to go to here, and then you're just playing like a straight neutral at this spacing. Like you're not, so you're just creating the space, and then you'll like dash dance here and like hope that he like moves right here so you can hit him or something like that, you know?
yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
I feel like you're moving back, you're creating like the vacuum for Fox to approach into, but then you're like not doing anything actively to the vacuum of space you made. You're more just like creating this opening of space, and then like, well, if you fully push through it stupidly, I might punish you for it.
Right,
And
right.
so it's kind of
Like if he
like,
does like take laser dash up smash, that's like what that will be. Like
yeah,
the thing
like
I'm
that would
knowing will
be,
be.
yeah, exactly. So like right here, this is a good example where you do this, this is correct, you land this, this is like perfect for a double laser in place. You have full hop like waveland stuff here. You can approaching laser out of it. Like, I probably from this position would do another laser in place or use the plat or try to get aggressive, because you just don't have like space for another retreating laser or like a lot of defensive actions. Like your incentive to like not move back more goes up the further you get into the corner, right? So
Okay.
when you're in center and you're at a certain spacing, retreating laser might be good, but as you get into the corner, like maybe retreating laser puts you like right here or in like a really annoying spot where you can't get out. And so like there's just more spots around this zone where you might want to play it a little bit more aggro. And I think the perfect middle ground is just like, oh, well, I have the laser in place spacing, so like why not just do that? And like that's like a safe way to play it, and then you can look for more openings out of it. It's kind of like Marth, where like you don't want to like let him push you into the corner with his dash dance. Like you have to learn to like hold your ground.
Right.
Fox definitely that's present too. So it's like if you're gonna give up space with like a retreating laser, you want to make something of that. Which is like I always like a lot of times I'll do retreating laser and then like approaching something, or even like a fake approach or something like that. Just so it's like if you're making this big empty space for the fight to happen in, you should be doing something more with it than like just kind of like waiting.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna ask you about like because you mentioned like you have more incentive to not go back if you the closer to the edge of the stage you are.
Mm-hmm.
You do you have like a thought about what I should like? Is there a specific set of factors? Because I asked Ginger this, but he didn't seem to really think that there was a real answer. But I'm just curious if you think about it differently. But in that spot where I landed the retreating laser, if there's some things you look for to know, like, as like a tell that Fox is more likely to dash JC up smash at you, like, is it based on your percent? Like, maybe, I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, or is it just like a total coin flip? Like, he could just do it, but you just have no way of knowing unless, like, you're just looking at the player.
Well, you know he doesn't want to do it at like 70. You know, like at the percent where he can't really combo, but it hits you like pretty far. Like he doesn't
Right.
really want to do it there. Like obvious, like there's no guaranteed way. Like
I mean, that makes sense. I'm not expecting there to be an answer to that. I'm just curious if you
no,
had
but
a thought, yeah.
there is more of an answer. Is that like you you gotta be thinking about what you're doing to Fox, and your autopilot protects you. You shouldn't be consciously trying to like protect yourself from up smashes that much.
Yeah, which
Uh,
I currently do a lot. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
like because then it like it's too passive, right? Like you're kind of like if you up smash, I get you, and if you don't, then I don't. You kind of like what I'll say is that like 99% of Fox dash like take laser dash and up smash, I don't punish because they just get
Okay.
hit. They just get hit
Hmm.
with another laser, and I'm like, that's cool because I'm doing my thing, and then I'll keep note of maybe the spacing or the timing that they did the up smash at, and then maybe like the fourth or fifth time they do it, I'll just do a little check of like, are you gonna do that dumb up smash? And then if they do, maybe I'll hit them, you know.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that makes
Or
sense.
I'll do things that catch, like I'll use a shield that can catch a nair in, like an early nair, and it'll also catch the up smash. So I'll like use it in a spot where it like covers, like the shield covers both. I don't really try
Right.
to like get out of the way of the up smash and punish it unless it's like a big hard read. I wouldn't play neutral around that thought.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm. Okay, and
I
like in
know
it,
that you would probably say that I cornered myself here for no reason, probably, right?
it wasn't. Hey, you know me pretty well, but it's not.
Yeah.
I was gonna complain about that, but not that you cornered yourself without reason. I think this is actually a way more interesting spot. that, like, if... How do I describe this? Like, it has to do with, like... Okay, so... Sorry, I'm giving you a sec. I'm trying to, like, structure this in my head. So,
Sure. Yeah.
like, Fox kind of has trouble, like, in general, characters have trouble pushing past this inner edge of the side plat against characters who can go up and down it really quickly. Like, if Falco is like, in Teeter or something right here as Fox, you don't feel comfortable, like, running into that. And
Right.
so, like, and as Falco, if Fox is, like, backflipping right here or something, you don't really feel comfortable going into that. So it's difficult to, like, push each other past these points. And if you are ever in a spot where you're, like, in this center area and you take a retreating laser, or you do a retreating laser, in, like, you know, whether it's this way and you shoot this way or whatever, or you go back into the corner this way, you're, like, it's like there's, like, a gate here, and because you're going past the gate, you're no longer defending it, and then Fox gets this big corner pressure on you. So,
Right.
like, if I am in a spot where, like, let's say I am playing neutral and I end up retreating lasering into the corner for whatever reason, a lot of times I will just instantly full hop and, like, okay, I'm just going to play the platform game. And most of the time, instead of doing that retreating laser, you want to kind of, like, hold this gate. Like, you can hold this really well, like, with, like, full hop waveland off laser and full hop waveland off down air and back air, and, like, just full hop waveland down and, like, lasers in place. Like, you can hold this horizontal position really, really well. And so, like, what you kind of want is you kind of want a feeling where you're holding this space, and then Fox is going to be right here. And if Fox tries to come in at you, you have this whole vertical section, or you can maybe retreat a little bit in the corner and be okay, and then retake this space. Or if you go all the way into the corner, then you just, like, full hop or something like that. But the idea is that Fox is going to be kind of hovering here, and then if he goes backwards, then he gets cornered. I might just go into the game and explain it. It might be easier that way.
I think I follow kind of what you're
Yeah,
saying.
I'm not explaining it in the cleanest way, and I just think it might help me out to have the game.
Sure. I think I'm wondering, like, how much of that is I assume it's, like, kind of stage dependent because the platforms are here, but, like,
Mm-hmm.
like on FD, like, because I'm thinking, like, when do I want to be thinking about protecting myself with, like, double laser versus, like, laser and then, like, retreating, and then, like, retreating in some way, like with a dashback or with a retreating laser. Like, how much do I need to be weighing that in my mind versus, like, I need to also be thinking about the gate of the side platform that I can use to waveland off of. Like, what is the ratio that I have to be weighing these different
Mm-hmm.
factors, you know?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to get to. I haven't thought of a way to explain this perfectly before, and so it's kind of, like, new. Okay, so you have this space, right? And this space is
Right.
really good for, like, holding this zone. Fox doesn't want to really come at you here, and then maybe if he comes in a little bit, you can get something like that. And then if I get this, like, maybe if I get, like, a big laser into the corner, maybe I'll do, like, a full hop, or I'll do this, or I'll just go to ledge or something, or maybe I'll do a couple, and then I'll go up like that. So, like, the idea is, like, if Fox is, like, right here, this is perfect for when I'll do, like, boom. Like, I'll do retreating laser, approaching laser here. Because even if I, like, decide not to, I still have, like, a good space here. Like, if I decide to do this and then not come in immediately, I'm still in, like, a good position. Whereas, like, here, if I do this and I don't come back in immediately, I'm in like, a negative position to stay here.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm saying, like, you can kind of hold this space, and you're kind of in, like, a zone where you're like, okay, Fox, you have 3 options, essentially. Like, you can kind of stay here, like, right here, and just get, like, double lasered in the face forever, and, like, maybe eventually get mixed by me. Or you can, like, dash in which case I'm kind of, like, ready for you. Like, I get people with that all the time, or, you know, there's plenty of things you can get people with in this space. or Fox has to like do this, take the laser, and then dash away. And it's like, okay, so I'm doing this, and I'm comfortable holding this space if Fox goes in, so I'm kind of watching, and I'm like, oh, you don't seem super comfy going in, and now I have him here, and now I can do, this type of like pressure a lot better.
Okay.
So it's like this, you just need to like know when to kind of like hold that stage position, and then when to like when it's okay to like, oh, giving up space here isn't really putting me in a bad spot or whatever.
I see. Okay, so your like willingness to do certain sequences is going to be based on like your proximity to center, essentially.
Yeah, and like where Fox is in relation to that.
Sure. Okay.
It's in my mind, it's kind of like I just see like negative spaces where I don't want to be. And then I just think like, okay, like the corner, for instance, and I'll be like, okay, like I can just do whatever I want as long as it's not one of those. Like as long as it's not putting me in that spot. And for me, that kind of just keeps me focused on that direction. Okay. I wanted to point out this spot now that we talked about that a little bit. Where was it?
I think it's I die and then it's the next stock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We're already on the third stock.
Yeah,
or the second stock, I mean.
Oh,
right. Yep. Yeah, okay, it's like right here. Like let's say you end up like right here, right?
Right.
You gotta do something to like I'll just tell you that in my head, I don't know what the perfect answer here is, honestly. In my head, I'm just gonna like do like a short hop nair this way, or short hop, if I'm gonna read him differently, I'll do a short hop turn around laser this way, or I'll dash in and I'll shield behind him for a split second and then I'll roll or something. Like I'm just not gonna fight this out. Like I can acknowledge that like this is not a positive position for me, but like if he back airs here, maybe I ASDI down and shine him or something like that. He doesn't have like a guaranteed position. Maybe here I would dash in JC shine the back of his shield and then like either keep pressuring or full hop away or something like that. But you need to do something a little bit more active to like avoid this position. Trying to just catch Fox for doing things has like limitations, Like you want to be able to catch Fox for doing things as like a basis. Like, oh, Fox, you're jumping in and doing bad things, I'll catch you for that. But when you end up in like a kind of a negative spot, you don't want to like keep pressing like, oh, it's okay, I can get a little bit more negative just to see in case Fox, does something really bad or whatever. And I feel like that was kind of what you went for. And the thing is like, this is why sometimes our lessons are tricky, is because like none of the stuff you're doing is like bad. Like you're not doing anything that's like horrifically bad. It's just like sometimes you see a situation that you're like, oh, that's not positive, so I shouldn't play it. I should play this safe situation. But like not really realizing that like the result of that safe situation is like more negative than like the mix-up you should have played. Like disengaging from a mix-up is like one of the most powerful tools we have, especially with Falco. But also being able to recognize that this is a true mix-up situation and just playing it out towards like a good goal. Like you just try to outplay them. Like just make a read and like play real neutral in that spot. And that's all you can really do once you're right next to Fox, in a negative position. There's no input you can do that will like, oh, well, no matter what Fox does, I can just react and beat him. Like you're already past that point by putting yourself in like a negative spot.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and let me know if this is like what you were kind of looking for. I'm giving my best thoughts on this, but it's a little bit tricky to explain. So if you have any questions, it might help me like structure it better.
No, I mean it mostly makes sense.
Okay.
I think because like especially what you described about like creating the gateway around the inner edge of the side platform.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and like being proactive once I'm fully cornered, like just being a little more proactive. I think that those ideas make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like what Gio said. I'll like short hop, no fast fall, aerial, full drift out of the corner, and it's it's like that is not like a good decision. But it's like, well, I'm already here. Like, are you gonna punish this or not?
Yeah.
It's kind of like recovering. Like you have to do. There's no recovery that'll be safe from everything. You just have to like play it out. That was an interesting choice of those lasers. Yeah.
That kind of thing happened like a few times this game where he ended up somehow under me while I was shielding on a side platform, and then I got shined.
Man.
Like, and I mean, like Fox at 0 is probably like more able to just take big risks like that, and so that's why it happens a little more, I think. Or like especially if he's a really low percent. But I don't know. I feel like I don't feel very dynamic on the side platform sometimes. Like I want to be a little more. I want to have more options so that like because I feel like I play Squid too, and he also kind of like he kind of cooks me a little bit when I'm on the side platform in different ways. But like it's kind of like I think that I'm struggling at like being very like threatening and mobile when I'm on the platform, and I need to be more threatening and mobile.
No, I agree with that. I think like maybe like mixing up the options a little bit more, like consciously mixing up between like you can drop through shine double jump, you know. I do shield drop double jump waveland off like a bunch. Um like uh West would always do shield drop, shine, double jump, waveland off, down air, stuff like that. Like I think just like learning like a few of those patterns might help rather than like because it looks like you're up there and you're like come down with aerial, I guess maybe, you know. Like it
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
like
or like please hit my shield and then I can do something out of shield. But I'm not being like proactive with it enough sometimes, I think maybe. Like you're saying maybe if I sometimes like do an attack out of it, like shield drop, waveland, and then down air, that might be a little more threatening.
yeah, no, I think like just having like more movement patterns and like types of attacks from the platform. Because like when I'm on the platform, I just have like a list. Like if they're beneath me and I'm on the platform and I want to drop on them, I just have like a list of mix-ups that I go through. I'm like, oh, I'm either gonna like drop shine double jump wayland or I'll drop shine down air, or I'll drop shine nair, and I just like pick one or whatever. If I've already decided that like my read is that I'm gonna like drop down and hit them.
Sure, sure.
But a lot of times in that spot, you can also like like dash short hop to center, and then like mix up like the aerial and like the laser, or just like go to top plat. Like I'm not comfortable in every situation when Fox is like beneath me. Like like sometimes I might make a read if he's gonna do something, uh, but I'm not just like I don't know. There's not that many like oh Fox is here, just do this. You know, like I feel
Right.
like those definitely exist when you have laser control. Like when a situation is like a prepared laser, very well understood situation, then you have those kind of like oh he did this, all right nice, just react with this because you know all the little variables. But like it's so hard to react to all the different spacings that Fox can be at and like really thinking about like what they're gonna do. Um,
Sure.
I'm gonna go to the next Slippy
Yeah.
file. I'm cooking something for you. Like I can tell in my brain. I'm like I know what to do. Like what he should do here. And I'm like what? And my brain's like I don't know. Come back later. I'm like okay. I'll keep watching Slippies and like figure this out. There's something here that I just need to like get a handle on.
Sure.
Okay, first of all, what in the world? These are like the slowest lasers ever.
Oh, I do that on purpose because he's really comfortable power shielding like the fast fall like normal timing. So I sometimes mix in no fast fall just to throw off his power shield timing. It's like a soft like I don't normally do it against foxes, but against Null I like to do it more because he really likes to try to power shield it.
Okay, I don't really do that. That might be valid. I don't really know. Like in my mind, like you want to just do the fast laser and then like beat him in the power shield spots, but this might be good. Fox is just so fast. All right, I'm not gonna comment on it because I haven't done it enough to really know. But
Yeah, I haven't been punished that hard for I haven't or as even punished at all as far as I know. So for doing it, so I don't know. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not.
yeah, like okay, this is like, Okay, this is definitely something, and I think this contributes to part of why you're doing those like retreating things. Is like I feel like you're like what's the best way to say it? It's like you're not projecting onto Fox hard enough that you're like looking for your win condition. Um, like as the Fox in like let's say, oh hello, okay, like let's say this spot, like you went for the shine there, right? Like you went for like the
Yeah.
laser dash JC shine, but like let's just look at this neutral situation like from the Fox perspective. What does Falco want here? Just okay, he gets a laser. He gets a laser. He tried to kind of dash in. No, I thought it went for longer. Was it earlier? There was like a spot in the neutral a little bit earlier where I felt like it like was more indicative of that. I might have been just sometimes I like see a 2 second clip and I'm like, aha, that's a 7 second clip, and it's not like. But my brain saw the thing. I guess what I'm saying is like I don't feel like the Fox is. I don't feel like the Fox has to simulate you trying to get them that much. Like you're simulating Fox trying to get in and get you. Like in your head.
Right.
You're like, what are they going to
Yeah.
do to come in and get me? And you're like, what do they want? And it's like, oh, they want their win conditions. They want their shines, their grabs, their drills, you know? But like from your end, it's or from what I saw the last game and this game, it feels like well, he's looking for like a solid position on which to capitalize on his laser with a shine. And that is like a lot easier to avoid than like he's going for one of his win conditions and he just wants one of them. Like there's this certain like I know you've played against people and it just feels like they're like fiending, you know, like in like the Ditto
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something, and they're like, "Come on, give me the shine or the down air or something, please. I need to kill you." And like
Yeah.
you'll end up playing a little bit differently against people who are kind of like projecting their win condition a little bit. So it's kind of like um I don't know, like maybe you could go for a little bit more of like reads that would hit something if he did it, but are pretty safe if he doesn't. Like I don't really see you do like run in, shine, wave dash back much. Or like
Okay.
it's that flavor of thing, or like do like a dash in and then like a late like fade back like late down air, something like that, and then maybe like retreating laser, or like even after that just literally like short hop again and like see what happens. There's just this sort of like aggression that's like missing somehow, where it's like you
Yeah.
don't need to be aggressing, but you need to like the best way to describe it is like the puff players, where like you can tell they aren't thinking about rest. They're just like, if only I can get some sort of setup, and then maybe my setup can get me my rest. Like, and so
Right.
they're gonna be spacing with back air, and maybe they'll see like, oh, is this a potential like up air which might lead to like a rest thing? Versus where they're just like, anything that can get me the rest is what I want. And it just
Right.
it's like a little bit. So it's like, I feel like what's happening is that like Fox gets to play a what's the word, like a lopsided neutral, or like a neutral where they get to make a bunch of assumptions. It's like when you're playing curve. Maybe not exactly how he plays now because he switched it up a little bit. But later, like there's that like Falco versus Fox curve thing where he's like he's gonna do the fade back drill, you know, and stuff like that. And like it lets you like you're not like let's say you played curve for like a while and then you immediately went and played like Geo. There's gonna be like more options you have to cover for when you're playing against Geo or Null.
Sure.
Whereas, like, because Curve is kind of playing in this way where he's, like, really wants the fade back drill, or, like, really wants, like, these sort of, like, safer openings, you can kind of, like, turn off your brain towards certain parts of the game. And even, like, subconsciously, and it just feels like, oh, I'm, like, adjusting to their play style or whatever. And it feels like that's what they kind of are getting to do to you.
Yeah.
Where they're kind of like, well, he's kind of gonna look at the game this way and like do safe things in this way, and like so this is like you don't need any help here, you know, like there,
Yeah.
like you're super comfortable in those spots. But when you're in a spot that's like when you're in a spot where it hasn't been chosen yet, really who has the advantage or what's going on, you have like a big tendency to like take a completely safe position. And
Right.
it's like it's a good
What do you
example.
think about like? Because you mentioned some options I could go for, are like running, shine, wave dash back, or like
Yeah.
or dash forward, fade back, down air. What do you think about like approaching laser?
Like I am not a huge fan of approaching laser out of just like in place, like I've said before. Like I think if you want to do an approaching laser, you should do like a retreating laser first most of the time against Fox. Or you do some sort of like I don't know, approaching high laser to beat like his full hop, like some kind of like crazy read or something. It's just most of the time it feels like I don't know. I basically think that like people overuse it in neutral. Like I think that it's there specifically as like a good read. I don't think that it's like super good to do all the time. I think that Fox has too many ways to like perfectly counter it while being like safe. I think that like you need to like approaching laser just enough that when the Fox is playing neutral, they're like maybe he'll do an approaching laser and I can catch him, you know? And if Fox is
Right.
playing like that, they are now playing around your approach. Even if because I've felt this from the Fox end, where for like a whole game in my head, I'm like in like the middle of a set, I'm like, oh, as soon as they approaching laser, they're done for, and they just never do it the whole game, despite acting like they're gonna do it the entire game. But what that does is that like causes me to space in such a way that I'm worried about the approaching laser.
Right. Do you think, okay, so if I could try to like encapsulate what it is that you're trying to generally describe, is that currently I'm leaning too hard into like defensive reactive options, when like, and then like if I ever do decide to be proactive, it's like with something extremely committal like approaching laser, but I don't have any like more middle road options like
Yeah, like
that aren't.
exactly, because there's like a lot of middle road options where you don't like maybe it's like your best case is that you get a shine, and your worst case is that like there's just spots where like if you just added up the probability of everything that could possibly happen, you're going for things that have like a higher payoff than the Foxes. A lot of times, like an easy example is it happens on like side plat. Like Fox is chasing you around on the side plat with like nairs and shine, and you're chasing Fox around on the side plat with downers and shines. Like your moves, like your shine is gonna have like a way higher payoff out of those spots, and so you
Sure.
have like a bit more freedom to play out those mix-ups, even though there's like danger because they are in more danger if you add up all the probabilities of everything happening.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I feel like it's not even that you have to take things every time, but it's like you're not acknowledging them. Like you're not looking for them and acknowledging them. And so like the Fox can kind of just rest easy that like you're going to attempt a safe outplay.
Right.
And
Yeah, that for sure.
yeah, and you want to be like, no way I would do a safe outplay. I'm coming for you right now. And then, like, 60 seconds of neutral later, they realized it was all a big outplay.
Right, right.
And so, like, okay, so let's look at a couple more examples in the actual game, and I think hopefully we can find more there. Okay, his combo game on Falco is nasty. And it's FD anyway. Gonna ignore that downer. I would have rolled at some point during that. The full hop nairs when you're at high percent are too scary.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's funny, is like you do all the stuff every time you're like invincible. Because you're like, well, now that I'm invincible, I have no risk. So of course it's in my favor to like act aggressively, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah, for sure.
and so like obviously like being vulnerable and doing things that are too aggressive is like it can be bad, but that middle ground of like I need to see this happen, like this thing where you like do this little pressure, right, and you wave dash in after the spot dodge and you get the shine. I need to see something like this happen when you're not invincible.
Yeah, 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 that makes
That
sense.
and like just it being there is so huge.
Yeah,
It's
I definitely never play how I do when I'm invincible when I'm not. So that makes sense.
yeah, and it's like okay, this is so perfect. Is like you okay, so you're here, right? And so first of all, okay, so let me see if I can explain this whole interaction. So, okay, so you're here. And first of all, I would probably not do a full retreating laser here because you don't need to. But
True, true.
it's okay. It's fine. You did. He tries to running power shield, but he doesn't get it. So you would basically see this situation, and it's like okay, if in my head this is a fantastic situation to laser in place like again, and then like
Right.
probably laser in place again, and then maybe dash dance for a second after that, and then laser in place again. And it's like my goal is that like Fox, if you move forward, you don't even know what's gonna happen to you. Maybe I kill you, you know? And it's like,
Right.
and if you kind of try to full hop in, I'll either up tilt you or maybe just keep playing neutral. Maybe we just swap positions, and then if you kind of go back, you know, maybe I'll keep the pressure up. Maybe if you dash back, then I get an approaching laser, and now I'm here with the multi laser in place like control.
Right.
But this is not a position to retreat in. So like you get this laser from this range, and like then you just dash back and dash dance. And so it's like, oh, okay. And then you kind of start shooting lasers again a second later. And this is just like the whole like classic Falco thing of like, what were you doing? Like, what were you looking for?
Mm.
It's like either you got to be doing like a laser control situation, or you got to be making a mix up that's in your favor. But lasering a couple
Right.
times and then like dashing back, like what does Falco dash back do at all? And like I've said this a bunch of times, Falco's dash dance isn't for like actual dash dancing, like to whiff punish. It's to bait. It's to make them think you're going to do a dashing aerial. So like
Right.
when you do this dash dance after the second laser, when you do this dash dance, you just dashed away here. This wasn't even like you didn't do like a dash in. Like he's doing this dash dance because he's like, what's Falco gonna do? But you don't
Yeah.
do anything.
Yeah, I'm
You
just
just
scouting
run
for him to do
away.
like take laser dash up smash or take laser like dash nair at me again.
Mm-hmm. And this is the exact equivalent of Fox not wanting to do anything to you and get in your space ever because they're like, oh, I'll just catch him when he does a bad short hop down air or a bad approaching laser.
Right.
And like that makes it way easier for you when the Fox is just trying to beat full hop in place over and over to beat approaching down air or something like that. Like, yeah, that's great. And like that's like the equivalent of this is that you're just
Right.
like, oh, please give me a free opening. I know I had an advantage, but that wasn't enough. Just give me the freebie 100-0 opening so I don't have to like play or something. And it's kind of like you can just do some sort of like the dash dance here needs to threaten an approach of some kind, like or reset into a laser, or something. You know, it just needs more value.
Yeah, I think
Like
I was
you can put
also
more into it.
really, yeah, for sure. I,
Yeah.
I think from the previous session, there were a few spots where I was trying to like dash dance and then laser in place at a spacing where I was like just too close to him, and I would keep getting clipped by him doing full hop drill. And so I feel like this time I was like being hyper vigilant of that and trying to just space really far away from it, but I ended up like
Mm-hmm.
kind of forfeiting like all my threats by doing that.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's just like I think you hit like a certain speed threshold of Fox. Like once you get used to playing against Like basically, there's the Sunsei, Cody, Null, KJH tier of like people who move out of laser, and they're just really,
Right.
really, really fast. And once you realize that there's like a peak speed that they can really get out of laser at, and like move around, I think you get like more comfortable. Like, because right now it feels like maybe like Null is just faster than you're used to, and so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
kind of causes you to lose faith in all of your situations that work, and then that causes you to like space badly and do options that aren't like Falco just plays on like the head of a pin, right? And so it's like if like what the good things are and you just have to do those good things, and then if those good things lose, you got to figure out what you're doing wrong, maybe you're a couple frames off or something like that. But
Right.
Falco can't move around things like Fox. If somebody keeps messing you up for doing something as Fox, you go, whatever, not doing that again. But as Falco,
Right.
you can't. Like if they keep messing you up for something, you're like, I need to figure out like which piece of this exact mix up and frames that I'm missing here.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, unrelated, but I was trying to, based on what we talked about in DMs about Falcon,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed because like I feel like it's probably something similar when I was playing against Zio that like I feel like because he's so fast, I get overwhelmed a little bit and I kind of stray from the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go into a session, even against a really fast, good player, and I'm just focused on being very, very focused on sticking to the game plan only, of like and I simplify the game plan down. Like I'm like I just don't want to ever like full jump for no reason out of a scramble, um, unless I like actually feel like it's a really good idea, or I don't want to like go to a platform unnecessarily against Falcon. Then it feels like it's so much better. I just feel like I make way less like obvious like game plan related if like errors than if I'm not doing that kind of thing, like that kind of preparation.
Mm-hmm. I see.
So yeah, like maybe that's like something that's happening here is like I just need to be like going into it where I'm thinking about just playing very specifically at a certain spacing and like not just retreating every time to try and look for
Mm-hmm.
him to like give me openings for free.
Yeah, that I think that's like a big one. Is like now that you're getting better and you're gonna be playing against better players, when they give you an opening for free, don't worry about it. Like they're like don't expect openings for free. Basically, uh, like as you get good and like as you like basically eventually your autopilot will just cover anything they give you for free anyway, and so you need to focus your energy away from like catching freebies. Like that's like kind of like what I was saying. I'm not really catching take laser dash and up smash that often because I'm not expecting them to do something like that dumb.
Yeah.
I mean like if they do that up smash, then like that's just like a bad decision. So I just play as if they're not gonna do it. And then a lot of times when they do it, I just like I said, I get a laser on them and that's it, and it resets. Like I'm just like, like I don't really care that much about bad decisions because if you play the game around somebody's bad decisions, then you're gonna lose to good decisions when they do those. Like if you're spending
Yeah.
time preparing for them to do bad things, you're definitely not gonna be ready for the good things.
You know, actually, like versus Marth, I've gotten pretty good. Like, I feel like this is a little analogous of like
Mm-hmm.
when Marths just go for Hail Mary dash attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like both Fox's dash up smash and Marth's dash attack are like in the same in my mind, in that they're just these like really Hail Mary options from the
Mm-hmm.
opponent that are really annoying. Like they trigger something in my mind, so I'm like super primed to want to play around like hard punishing them. But lately against Marth, I've like constructed my neutral to be basically dash attack proof, and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't even punish the dash attacks, but I just never get hit by them. Or like they just like overshoot past me and miss completely or whatever, and like I'm just fine with it. And I'm like, this feels so much better than
That's
like
literally
trying
what
to
I'm talking about. Yeah, like that
yeah, yeah. I'm
exact
like, maybe I should do
concept.
that with Fox's like neutral.
Yeah, especially with like the up smashes and stuff. It's just like I don't know. Like eventually, if they do those bad up smashes, like you're gonna be able if they're just doing these up smashes, like this one wasn't even that bad, but it's like if they do these, eventually They're just gonna get punished to death out of these. Like, I don't need to
Right.
punish all of them. I don't need to worry about them. If you get too focused on like the and like this is like a common issue people have where they're like they play somebody who just does the same dumb thing every time, and that like and then what you do is you're like, ugh, well, I can't play the normal options because they're not paying attention to my normal options. And so I just have to
Right.
play counter to their dumb style. And then they're like, now I have a 50-50 where if I'm 1% smart, I destroy you for trying to counter my dumb style, you know? And it's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
you just gotta get better at, like, the normal stuff. And eventually it just beats all the stupid.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
And so it's like, what I want, like, it's just so many times what is happening in these matches that I'm watching so far. Like, I've been watching the Fountain game right now. Is that like you just like aren't willing to really fight it out, so you just kind of laser or move around until you're in like a bad spot because you're hoping for the freebies. And like he's just sort of taking the small advantages where you give them until it's overwhelming and then it's checkmate. And
Right.
it's like I just want like I want you to be moving forward more without committing. I think that's like a big one is like to move, and that's why I like the retreating laser, approaching laser, or retreating laser, half approaching laser, because it's like you get to like move forward without really like big committing into their space and like having a potential of them like hitting you. Or I think also approaching laser is really good at certain ranges. Like if you're far enough away that like Fox can't like dash up smash you out of approaching laser. Like you're really far away, then the approaching laser is good. Like close the gap with the approaching laser like that.
Right.
Especially if you're right at the range where like Falco does approaching short hop laser and Fox tries to react with the up smash, but Falco's just a little bit far enough away so that the laser just hits the up smash, and then you just have like an advantageous position. I think like I don't know, dude. Like look at these stocks. There's like I think this game is like the perfect example. Let's see. Okay. I was like, it's just so short. I feel like we definitely started later, and I look and we started at like 6:10, so that's perfect. I definitely have more to say.
Okay.
Yeah, like let's start at the beginning because I feel like he kind of messes you up this game. Okay, so first of all, short hop laser. This is really bad. Doing this is really bad.
Yeah.
Don't bother with it. Like, So, like, when you see this position, what do you see?
Like exactly this frame, or like
Like, if you
before
just
it?
saw around this position, and what do you like? What is your thought process? Because I'll just tell you what I'm thinking on this. I don't need to do that. What I'm thinking is that you're thinking about how much danger you're in. Like, you're not thinking that you're threatening, like, that this is threatening a late down air or a shine on Fox. Like, I feel like you're like,
Like I think I'm thinking that this platform height, I'm like not sure if it's just low enough that if I just down her on the platform, it'll hit his head. Like, because sometimes I like that about Fountain, but like I was like a little spooked in that spot because I wasn't sure if the downer would hit him or not.
that's fair. I want like I think the problem is I feel like I keep seeing the perfect examples in my head, and then when I pull them back up and look at them again, I'm like, oh, it's not quite perfect, and
Yeah, yeah.
I think, as simple and silly as it is, I think it might just literally be that he's fast and you just lose confidence in, like, double laser. I just, because,
Yeah,
like,
especially on small stages, I feel that more. Like I'm like not even shooting him at all on like Fountain, but like on FD, I did it at least a few times.
yeah, this was the spot. This was the spot that was killing me.
Yeah, I was freaking out here.
Of like, of like, like Fox. The only reason, the only reason that Fox will ever dash back out of a laser is because they're afraid of you approaching. And so if he's
Right.
not afraid of you approaching, he gets to stay. And Gio is also really good at being scary right in this range, where he's just like, I'm walking in, and then I'm really scary right here. And it's like, you basically just have to realize, like, either he's coming in right now on a read, or I can laser him.
Right.
Like, either he's coming in right now at this exact frame, in which case I'm ready, or I get to laser him. Like, you have to play it out. Like, it's like you feel like making making no choice is still a choice. And I think that
Yeah.
and I
And I
think
think this is probably an example of the spot he was talking about, where like you would maybe no fast fall down air at him
I
while
would
he's like
do
dash dancing.
something. I would go to honestly on Fountain, like I said, like I've said all like a lot of times on Fountain, I highly prioritize the top plat and center control. Like on this stage,
Right.
that's like a big thing to
Sure.
me.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what I would have done, but like I would have done something to like, like something to like take a good position or like make a good position. I think that's what it is. Like you're not being like assertive enough that you're gonna make a good position. So he either makes good positions for him or he makes good positions for you. And that like takes away your personal agency
Right.
in like a lot of neutral interactions. And I don't think that happens all the time, but I think that I think that like maybe you get a little unconfident because he's fast or something, and then you kind of like lose sight of like the right way to like move around and play, and you kind of start getting into this like passive zone. Yeah, okay, because like look at this, is like this isn't like the world's like
Best nair.
it's not the world's smartest nair, is what I'll say. But is it a good nair? Yeah, it totally hit him here because he like wasn't expecting it at all. And so it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and like, or how about this? Is like right here, you just do like a run-in shine, uh, right there, like off of this pressure, and it's like you probably could have dashed away and set up a perfect laser there or whatever, but that's fine. Like you don't need to set up a perfect situation every time, and you need the willingness to play out spots that are positive for you, like you did here, more often, and like not like just look at a situation as like defending yourself from stuff, because like okay, and I explain matchups a lot in terms of like layers, right? And I think that
Right.
like there's the first layer, which is here comes Fox, you better defend yourself, right? And they just rush you and they just spam dumb moves, and you have to get past this whole phase of Falco where you're like, if Fox tries to randomly rush in and hit me, I will punish him or stalemate. And you get
Right.
really good at doing that. And then there's like a layer past that, which is Fox knows that if he goes in right away, he's going to get murdered. And he knows that if he just sits around, he gives you too much activity. And that is bad for him also. And he'll probably get murdered. So what Fox wants to do is he wants to play an active style, but without going in immediately. And so that means
Right.
that Fox is going to... You know what this is? You need to learn how to use Marth dash attack.
I need a Hail Mary.
Like, you need to learn why the dash attack is valid, even though it's a Hail Mary. Like,
Right.
from your
Okay.
own point of view.
I think I'm wondering about this. So in those spots where he was dash dancing, and then one time I just didn't do anything, and he ended up just dash dance naring into me and got total advantage off of it. But then in the next stock, I just full send a nair at him, and it hits, or it confirms into pressure. I guess I don't always that to me feels like yes, the nair worked, and yes, the like just kind of passive dares in place in the corner didn't work, but I don't. I'm like that to me feels like still very extreme in the way I'm like either of those situations are kind of extreme for me, and I'm wondering if like maybe when Fox is dash dancing, that's a good example where the middle of the road thing you're talking about would be relevant. Of like maybe sometimes when he's doing that, I should just running shine wave dash back or something instead of just like full sending a nair or a dare or something.
Yeah, or running shine like wave dash through or something like that.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
I think that is a good way to look at it. I guess what I mean to say, like, I feel like the Marth dash attack thing, it made sense to me, but I feel like I didn't finish explaining the point that led into it, so it might not have fully lined up. It's essentially that, like, once Fox wants to be active, but Fox also doesn't want to attack you immediately, and so that forces Fox to just stand at the middle range and do nothing, which is what he does to you over and over and over. And so, like, now you have the knowledge Fox is going to get close to me and then, like, dash dance in the middle range. And now, rather than it being Fox coming in on you, it's like, okay, I want to jump in on Fox because I know that he's sitting in the middle range. And Fox has two counters to that. He can either try to hit me as I approach him by attacking in place, or he can retreat. And so that's why you have, you know, from a defensive position, like, for instance, like Mango will get stuff where he's in the corner. I remember him doing this to Moki on an FD game at some tournament a little while ago, where he was in the corner and Moki was dash dancing at that range, and Mango did like slight approaching laser, dash in, dash back, and Moki whiffed a take laser turnaround up tilt, and then he got down aired out of the corner.
Right.
And so it's like realizing that by getting in your face and then dash dancing, Fox is accepting the mix-up, which is unreactable for Fox, that Falco might attack in, and Fox has to play that mix-up now. And so so now, like, either Fox is gonna hit you out of this approaching laser, or they're gonna dash back and probably get hit by this laser and then get, like, opened up or something like that. And that's how these, like, or like aggressive, like, aerial out of the corner or something like that. And so, like, it's all based on assumptions of, well, he can't come in immediately and he can't stand there, so he's gonna have to wait here, and while he's waiting, I can do something. And then also sometimes I can just do little checks to see if he was going to be dumb and come in which case I'll just kill him out of it, and he'll feel extra dumb, and then next time he for sure will wait in the spot and give me a mix-up.
Right.
Like,
but whiffing like 4 dares in place, that's obviously like not going to be, like, that's overkill.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like a kind of similar example that's like kind of extreme also is that, like, Magi, like, if you get Magi into the corner as Fox and like she does like a regular get up, let's say, and then you dash in, every Falco on Earth, including me, and I hate this about myself, I just spot dodge because I'm like, do it with the approaching grab and then haha, you know.
Yeah.
And you know what Magi does there? She does instant, so she does regular get up from the mistech, instant dash forward down air. Instant.
Oh.
And every Fox does the dash in, and then they're dashing back to bait the spot dodge, and they just get downed right on their head.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, she was so ready for the instant approach, so I can't do the instant approach. I'll just wait here right outside her range, and then she'll just hit that spot.
Yeah.
So it's like, that exists in all of these situations that are happening in the match that you, like, aren't really, like, playing, or like, not even, like, that's the thing, is it's not about you playing them, it's about, like, seeming as though you're aware that they exist. And so because you're not giving an indication that, like, you might have done this action, or you might think you can catch this thing, or you might call out this timing, like, let's just say so Null runs at you and you try to defend him attacking in place or whatever, and then, you try to defend against him instant rushing you, and he does rush in to your defense / stalemate, and you just kill him for it. And then he comes back again next time, and he dashes in, and then he does a little dash dance instead of coming in, and you just read him, and you dash in and hit him out of that weight, and you kill him again. What's he gonna do the next stock? Both of his potential. What I'm saying is both of those potential options just got hit. So now, like, that situation, both attacking immediately and waiting a second before going in are potentially death. And as a Fox, I can tell you what they're going to do after that happens twice is they're going to start playing mad passive, and then you start hunting them down.
Right.
And so that's like an example of like a flow that can happen where it's like, as long as Fox doesn't feel safe waiting in your face, like, the reason he's waiting in your face is because he doesn't feel safe approaching. And so it's like, if neither approaching or waiting in your face feels safe, he needs to give you extra space, because any of those aggressive situations from his end can equal death potentially. They become potential deaths. And he now has to play around that risk-reward in neutral and give you more space to do your setups, etc. So it's kind of like a layering type of flow issue.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. I feel so much better. I feel like I got out what I was trying to say the whole time. I was like, sometimes it's a struggle, especially with you because you're getting better. And I feel like if you can just understand that okay, so like this is something that I've been telling myself a lot lately as Fox when I'm playing against Jigglypuff, is that I'm the Puff. I don't know if you've heard me say this.
No, I haven't.
But you're like, I'm Jigglypuff. I'm the one who's looking for the scary rest, and all I need is a grab, and I only need to hit you once and then get a grab, because Fox kind of does feel like that against Puff, right? And so it's like, I think that you need to like cross a mental barrier where you doing things to top players is scary for them. Rather than like you doing things to them, well, that's just decision making. And them doing things to me, it's like, well, I want it to be decision making, but often it's scary. It's they are experiencing the exact same thing. When you laser dash in and then dash back, they experience that same like thing that you're experiencing of like, what's he gonna do? Can I really keep him out? But you're not like treating it mentally as though they're experiencing like these. You're playing from like an underdog position in your brain, consistently against good players. That's like my impression.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would explain the like constant defensive play and just looking to punish only like really big commitments. Yeah.
And I think like also another mental thing that can kind of help here is thinking to yourself to just be better. Like, don't worry about perfect outplays. It's kind of like step 1 is be better, and then step 2 is and be smart enough that even when I'm not better, I still win.
Right.
Whereas like you're playing it if like I'll win if I'm smart enough, and they're just playing to be better, and so they have this big balanced intuitive style, and then you end up with like this kind of like overly calculated type stuff that like I know you have like the ability to play the game a little bit like scrappier or whatever. And like I said, it's not about actually doing the scraps. It's like they can feel your mentality.
Just it.
They can feel your mentality that you don't like. If I was Geo during this, I know that you don't think your dash in holds any power over me. And because you don't think your dash in holds any power over me, it's not going to. Like, you're not confident approaching me, why should I be afraid of you approaching me? But if you're like, what if I did just... And that's the Mango. That's why Mango is so good at Falco, is because he literally is just like, here I come, you're going to get mangoed on, the most aggressive player of all time, here I come, and he just hasn't approached the whole time. He's literally just been sitting there lasering you as Fox, just been camping out, playing like the solid game, and the whole time you were like, oh, he's coming right now. He's going to be right on top of me. And you just need to, like, get that mentality a little bit more. And then, like, it's kind of like before where we, like, balanced towards the speed and then back. And I feel like it did fix some of your speed issues. I feel like you gotta balance, you gotta imbalance a little bit towards, like, any situation that comes up, I will look for a win condition. But not necessarily pure aggro dumbness, but, like, that you're always ready, that you're like, I am here, and like if anything even kind of slightly smells like a shine, I'll be on you. And then like when you dash back and you laser, it's terrifying.
Right.
Final point. This is something I've been saying a lot as Fox lately, and it's not quite true as Falco, but it does apply here, which is that like this is like a current theory I'm working off with Fox, and it feels true the more I do like Sunsei Jr. stuff, is that like if you dash back out of most interactions and you dash in sometimes, that's a scary mix-up. But if you dash in most of the time and you dash back occasionally, that dash back is like more of an insane mix-up than the dash in when you dash back every time.
Why do you think that?
And I think that it's because it's like way more active. Like while I'm like, and I think that's strictly for Fox. I think Fox is the only one that can get away with dashing in that much, like approaching that much. Whereas like you just like approaching there, dash back, dash in, approaching there, and it's like, dude, that's so broken with Fox.
Yeah, but even with Falco, I imagine that like there's some upper limit to how much is a good idea to approach. But you're saying that the closer you get to that upper limit of how much you can approach without it being bad, like that's better for you. Ultimately
Exactly.
than,
like I'm saying, you need to be like, I'm the Falco who plays all the situations. No matter what you give me, I'll play it. Except for that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And the Fox is like, dude, those are all the ones I like. And you're like, haha, you know, like...
Right.
Whereas, like, right now, you only are playing the ones you like. And if you don't like it, you kind of just, like, oh, why can't I get into one I like? And then that keeps putting you into, like, worse and worse spots.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. I think that is pretty good. I know it's a little bit abstract, but I trust you.
I'll be thinking about it more tomorrow for sure.
Mm-hmm. And like, hit me up if you have any questions on it.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely think that it's tied in a little bit to the stuff we talked about in the past of like you needing to like mentally adjust to being a top player, and like kind of get that in your head. And I think that like you definitely made some progress towards it, and I think that now you're in a spot where you're like, I am a top player, but when my stuff isn't working, how can I feel like a top player?
Yeah.
Like I get that
like,
impression
certain
from
players. Like, it's just I feel like I can kind of crush them as bad as like most people, but then or like most really good players. But then there's certain players that like if they don't give me what I'm looking for, I just get blown up really bad.
And what I think is if you can get this implemented and kind of move past this, you'll get in a situation where it feels like, you know, you'll either win as a good player or lose as a good player. Like, they'll still feel the same amount of, like, fight from you, like, win or lose. And I think that's, like, what I want you to be, like, moving towards.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to do that too, because like I do feel like I lose now, and it's always bad. Like I never lose, and I'm like, oh, I did good things, and I just lost anyway. I always lose, and I'm like, I did everything wrong, and I'm not proud of what I did at all.
That's the Falco life, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let me know if you have any more questions on this interesting lesson for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate the help as always, man. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I'll talk to you later, man. Have a good one.
All right, talk to you later. Peace.
Bye.